Read by Jenny Skiffington. 2023. Deep space is shown, diamond-like white clusters of stars all around. A silver UFO with glimmering red and blue lights is shown approaching planet Earth at a rapid pace. Sudden flames begin to burst from the craft. The UFO has now entered planet Earth. Desert, Alice Springs, Northern Territory, Australia. A wide reddish desert. From a bird's eye view, we see several locations, including nearby town Alice Springs. Local townspeople are at leisure, some working, some drinking, and small children playing and running around. Suddenly, a white light bursts from the sky and out emerges a UFO. Several Aboriginal people, including some small children, see the spacecraft swooping overhead and look up at the sky. In the far-off distance, a shirtless Aboriginal man standing on top of a mountain with a wooden staff and long flowing hair looks up at the spacecraft and smiles. Pine Gap, Northern Territory, Australia, 1530 hours. A large white sign displays on the side of a road. Joint Defense Facility, Pine Gap, prohibited area. We can see several miles into the large mountains. A large black cloud of smoke is seen and a destroyed UFO aircraft comes into view. Inside sits a 20-something, beautiful, short-haired, blonde, white female who is unconscious. As time passes, her eyes begin to flicker, then open. Her stunning, light, amber eyes come into focus. Then her face, then body come into view. She slowly tries to get up, but the pain makes her sit for a moment. Then she raises up. Small patches of dried blood are seen below her eyebrow. Inside the spacecraft, all is destroyed. Fire inside forces her out of the ship quickly. Now she is free from the hazardous flames and smoke. She looks out over the horizon and slowly walks down the mountain and into the flat desert ground. She then stops and stares straight towards Pine Gap and begins walking. The sun above shines brightly over her. The sound of wind is heard blowing. Pine Gap, 1642 hours. A red gush of dirt is shown as tires pass by. Then a white security truck comes into view. Inside the truck sits two officers. Hey, I often wonder why I took on this boring job. All we do is sit and drive around. Nothing ever exciting ever happens around here anymore. Yeah, I agree with you there, mate. It's bloody damn hot out here as well. They continue driving down the isolated road when the officer notices black smoke coming from high in the nearby mountains. He stops and gets out of the truck. He grabs his binoculars and looks into them. The other officer, curious as to what is going on, also gets out of the truck. What's with all that black smoke? The other officer moves in closer and grabs his binoculars and sees the same thing. Hey, we should have a closer look. Yeah, I think so too. Let's go. The two men proceed forward and shortly afterwards stop the truck and get out at the bottom of the small hill and walk up it. As they reach the hill, the black smoke begins to clear and the spacecraft comes into view. Their eyes begin to light up as they stand staring at this large silver spacecraft glistening in the sun. Holy crap! Look at the size of it! And to think I just said that nothing ever exciting happens around here. Don't you think we should call it in? We put that damn walkie-talkie away. Let's have a look inside first. Whatever you say. The two men get closer to the spacecraft and venture inside of it and start looking around. They're amazed at all that is inside the craft, weird buttons and gadgets and so on. Both men split up and look around. The one officer wanders around, pulls out his digital camera, takes pictures of the craft, both inside and out, while the other officer heads to the front of the spacecraft, where the broken glass is at. He notices a strange, blood-like substance on the seat. What the hell? He then touches it, smells it, and smudges it with his 2 fingers, then motions his partner over to him. What you got? Blood. Fresh blood. Whatever it is, it's roaming around and it's on the run. Desert. 1730 hours. We see the female alien as she walks slowly through the desert terrain. She's lost, confused, and scared. Her lips are cracked from the heat. She spots a small drinking hole with some fresh water inside. She kneels down and cups some water and begins to drink. She can begin to hear from a distance the sound of a truck. She turns to look, then turns back. She then gets up and starts to walk a bit faster. The 2 officers see what appears to be a person walking far in the distance. They speed up. I think we found what we're looking for. Yep. The truck then is head-on with the girl, then slows down, then stops. They both get out of the truck and see the tall girl walking. Hello? You're in a restricted area, ma'am? We focus in on her as she continues to walk and doesn't turn around. The security officer yells out, but still no answer from her. Hello, did you hear us? You're in a restricted area. Please turn around at once. Still no response from her, as she still carries on walking. The officers then look at each other. Can you believe this chick? She won't stop. Miss, we ordered you to stop. We focus in on her face, which has somewhat of a smirk on it. She then stops for a moment, then quickly bolts and starts running at such a rapid pace it stuns the 2 men. The first officer can't keep up. Get the truck over here now before we lose her. The security officer speeds up. The other officer jumps in the truck and they pursue to chase after her. Wow, look at her go, man. Look at her go. Yeah, just hurry up and catch up to her. Their adrenaline is running high, and finally they catch up to her in front of her and slam the brakes and jump out of the car. She then stops running. She's slightly out of breath. Sweat drips down her face. The men are highly alarmed and have their hands near their guns. She then slowly puts her hand to his side, which then alarms the officers to reach for their guns and pull them out, aimed at her. Don't you move! Don't move! The officer's slowly moving close to her. She looks them dead in the eye. She now looks frightened and scared as they are circled around her in a 360-degree angle. Didn't you hear us when we said stop? She does not reply. As they are talking to her, the officer gets up right into her face. What's wrong, honey? Cat got your tongue? You speak English, huh? Why are you out here? Still no response from her. What should we do? Cuff her. If she ain't gonna talk to us, I know who will. The security officer moves in, takes the cuffs out, and reaches towards her. The other officer slowly grabs her arms as she tries to get away. She lets out a scream as the officer puts the cuffs on her. She begins kicking as they pick her up and struggle to put her in the back of the truck. They struggle to get her in the truck, but finally she is in. She begins to kick the back passenger window. Both officers get in the front seats of the truck and drive away. Hey, relax back there. Man, she's pissed. They continue on driving. The officer looks up in the mirror, admiring the girl. I gotta tell you, lady, you're one beautiful chick. be professional. Come on, mate, just having a little fun with the lady. She ignores him and instead looks out the window at the desert landscape and the white dome structures around Pine Gap facility. Pine Gap, 1930 hours, holding facility. Long underground tunnels and dark hallways are shown. Flickering lights above are seen. Video cameras are all over the hallways and tunnels. Zara comes into view, sitting in a holding cell all by herself. She has sudden, quick flashbacks of her travel and crash. A video camera stares at her. Throughout the facility, we see scientists and government officials working on secret aircrafts that are being tested. The video of Zara is being seen by government officials, including Dr. Mark Wallace, head of the department, Lieutenant Major Tammy Wilson, and a top security officer who turns to take a closer look. So what do you think, Dr. Wallace? Well, we're waiting any minute now to see the pictures those officers took of the UFO aircraft. Oh, I see. And what about the report? You know I'm not at liberty to discuss that with you, Dan. Sorry about that. As Dr. Wallace and the security officer continue talking, some of the researchers are on their computers. Tammy receives the images of the destroyed UFO, then turns her chair around looking at Dr. Wallace. Dr. Wallace, you're not going to believe what you're about to see. Dr. Wallace and other scientists and government officials walk over to Tammy's computer. Well, I'll be damned. Look at that. And what time exactly were these images taken, Tammy? Roughly about 4 hours ago. They all stare with amazement at the pictures. I think you need to see these images, Rebecca. So you found something out there, outside of Pine Gap? Some pictures? Tommy leans over, opens up a file, and lays them down in front of Rebecca to review, plus a written report. She first goes through the pictures. This is unbelievable. And these were taken today? Yes, they were. Astounding, aren't they? You got that right. Typical Class A UFO. We sent a crew out there to investigate further. What else was found? We found blood samples. Blood samples, huh? Do we have them in our possession as of yet? They should be in shortly. Then we will have the lab check it out, and we will get the results of what it is exactly. That's odd. I've never seen this type of color of blood, and especially the texture of it. What you got there, Ken? Strange blood, it seems. Strange indeed. It seems the consistency of the blood is far more complex than humanoid blood. You need to get this to the lab promptly. Did you find anything that is cause for concern? We found some hair samples, some writing samples, half burned but kind of readable, and other miscellaneous things. So we can conclude our search is done here, and also made the call for the ship to be transported to the base. Okay, good. Now get those samples out right away. Yes, sir. I'm on it. Underground facility. We see heavy footsteps of officials approaching Zara's holding cell. Dr. Wallace reaches the door, looks inside the window, and sees Zara. He then swipes his badge and the door clicks open. All of them enter inside her cell. For a moment, they all stare at Zara, who is dressed oddly. They all place their belongings and sit at the long table opposite of Zara. Dr. Wallace smiles at Zara with a kind face and motions to her to come sit down at the table. She complies, then he hands her a glass of water. She drinks the water and places the cup down quietly. Do you know why you are here? You were taken into custody on the basis of two things. One is resisting to comply with the officers that found you roaming around. And two, We believe you have some connection to the crash that was located 15 miles just outside of the base. We would like to ask you some questions that we all feel need answers to. Can you tell us what exactly you were doing out there in the desert? Zara's face is in a daze and does not answer or speak. I advise you to speak to us so we may be able to help you. "2100 hours, Pine Gap Research Facility. Sounds of footsteps can be heard of a female woman walking. She stops and slides her ID badge in the card reader. The door opens. It is Rebecca Connolly, a smart-looking, average-height, beautiful brunette female. She walks past several offices, then stops at the door displaying Dr. Wallace's office and knocks. Come in. Several people are sitting around his desk, including Lieutenant Majors, Pam, and now Rebecca. Let me talk to her, okay, Rebecca? What you're doing is not helping, okay? Don't tell me how to do my job, okay, Pam? Who said I was? I'm a doctor, and can't you see she's confused and scared? I gotta agree with Pam, Rebecca. Fine, do it your way. Thank you. Pam leans over, touches Zara's hand, and notices a silver, mechanical, large, round object around her wrist. She looks at the object with curiosity and touches it. Zara pulls her hand back away from Pam. What is this thing you have around your wrist? It's very beautiful. Anyway, we are not here to hurt you. We just have questions. I know you're scared and confused, but help us to help you. Zara doesn't speak. Dr. Tanaka, I really don't know what to say. She's not talking. We just need time. Let me show her the pictures that were taken at the crash site. Maybe she'll recognize it or something. Miss, look at these pictures. Do you know what happened? Were you in the ship? Are you aware where you're at? She ain't gonna talk. She's a nut. Please, will you stop? No, I won't stop. Pam looks over to Dr. Wallace. Dr. Wallace, can I have a word with you outside? Certainly. Excuse me, everyone. I'll be back in a moment. Pam and Dr. Wallace step outside for a moment and quietly speak. They then come back moments later into the holding cell. Everyone, I think we're going to take this night off and come back in the morning and follow up on the situation as advised by me, and everyone agrees. They file out of the cell. Dr. Wallace and Pam look back at Zara with a smile. A female employee swipes her ID card and opens Zara's door and places a food tray on the table for her to eat. She then leans over to Zara and takes a cloth and wipes Zara's eye wound. She then leaves and turns off the light. Get some rest. Zara slowly looks all around the room. A sudden strange sound comes out of her mouth. Then a single tear runs down her face. The following day, secret laboratory, 0700 hours. Scientists are at work while Dr. Wallace is checking the blood samples found in the crashed aircraft under a microscope. To his amazement, the blood appears to have some humanoid characteristics, however some not human. Dr. Wallace calls over one of his assistants to view what truly amazes him. Kim, can you come over here for a minute? I want you to see something. Sure thing, Dr. Wallace. Kim comes over to Dr. Wallace's station and looks at the blood samples through the microscope. Wow, I've never seen this type of blood. Some aspects of it appear to be mutated or something. Also, looking at it, it appears that the blood samples are both human and non-human. Kim looks for a few more seconds, then gives the microscope back to Dr. Wallace. Now what we need to find out is if the blood matches the girl's blood. A few moments later, the girl that gave food to Zara and cleaned Zara's wound, enters the lab. Hello, Dr. Wallace. I was at the girl's holding cell to give her food when I noticed she had a fresh cut above her eye, and I decided to clean it up for her. I have a dried blood sample, so I thought I'd give it to you to examine. Dr. Wallace takes the sample from her, and she leaves the lab. Thank you, Jill. Zara's holding cell, the next day. Once again, the staff re-enters her cell, and they sit at the long table. Zara is laying down on the cot. She then slowly sits up and looks at the staff members. Good morning. We wanted to see how you're feeling and wanted to continue our conversation with you. Now, before we start, some of your blood was gathered, and we are looking into it to see if there is a match. And if there is a match, you would be of significant importance to our research and testing of extraterrestrial life. Now, I know last time we spoke, you may have decided not to speak to us for numerous reasons. Perhaps you were scared or unsure of things. However, we need to know if you understand what is going on here. Now, if the blood work that was done for both you and the blood found on the ship is positive, then this may be your new home, so we can do research on you, testing. If the blood doesn't match, there could be consequences for trespassing on a highly sensitive area. Do you understand what will happen to you? Zara looks over at Pam, uncertain of what Pam has told her, but again does not comply back with an answer. She's not going to cooperate. She's being stubborn or can't speak. Dr. Wallace looks at Rebecca with frustration. Please, Rebecca, let me decide what is going on here. You tend to forget I am just as important to this case as you are, and if I want to express my opinions, I have the right to. That's fine. Rebecca, it's how you come off saying things. This is a highly sensitive case, and by scaring the crap out of her, it doesn't help, like mentioned before. You have your way of dealing with things, Pam has her way of doing things, and I have my way of doing things. So let's just leave it at that. The question is, when do we expect to get the test results back from the lab for a match on blood samples, Dr. Wallace? Like I said, it should just be a matter of time. Well, can you tell us anything? Where you're from? Why you're here? Zara doesn't reply, but gives an indication by slightly turning her head to the side, like she is saying, I don't understand. They all look at each other, realizing she can't speak or something. I think what should happen now is let's sit and wait for the test results and see what happens. And for now, let's let her get some rest and have Jill give her some food and drink. I agree, Doctor. Let's just see what happens. They all exit the room. For some strange reason, Zara touches Pam's wrist, exposing her to something in Zara's mind that is beyond comprehension. The vision happens for a few moments, then shuts out, startling Pam. Then Zara takes her hand slowly off of Pam's wrist. Pam takes a deep breath. Dr. Wallace looks back at Pam. Pam, are you okay? Pam slowly comes out of her daze. Okay, let's go, Doctor. Pam looks back at Zara. Zara gives a humble look back at her. The door shuts. 3 days later, Dr. Wallace's office. Dr. Wallace is in his office sipping on coffee and is busy on his computer. His phone rings. He leans over to pick it up. This is Dr. Wallace. Dr. Wallace is listening to the outcome of the test results from Zara and the blood from the spacecraft. His face changes. He is surprised. I'll be right there. Lieutenant Major's office, 13:30 hours. Dr. Wallace and the other members of the facility sit in front of Lieutenant Major's as he reads off the details of the test results. Thank you for coming. I just want to say what I am about to discuss is truly remarkable. The blood samples match. Everyone looks at each other, speechless. So this means what we have on our hands is a highly intelligent, extraterrestrial, Nordic, alien female species, correct? That is correct, Doctor. No wonder she couldn't speak. She ain't human. She is what we call in the science world a hybrid being. I think now is the time to say that what we have here is one of the most significant finds of a being from a far more advanced world than ours. And think of the possibilities of what we can learn and study. We have the girl and we have the ship. This is a huge find. I think we all agree on that, Dr. Wallace. So I take it that we shall start the research on the girl promptly? Yes, as soon as possible. Get her cleaned up and start testing. Very good, Dr. Wallace. So if there are no more questions, it's lunchtime for me. Zara's room, 2 days later, 0830 hours. Zara sits in her room. The door opens. Pam and Dr. Wallace enter the cell and see Zara. They gesture for her to come with them outside. Outside stands a security officer just in case she tries to flee. Zara, feeling somewhat comfortable with Pam, stands up and walks with her while Dr. Wallace follows. They all walk down a hallway and into another office where she will be photographed, weighed, and examined. They have her sit down for a moment. Dr. Wallace has her then stand up and has her weighed and then measured for her height. Okay, the subject comes in at a weight of 134 pounds, and her height stands at 5 feet 11 inches tall. Pam, we need you to have her stand over there so I can take several photographs of her, first a close-up and then a wide shot. Yes, Doctor. As the doctor is now finished with the photographs, Zara lays down while they examine her. Pam is by her side. Pam is writing notes as the doctor speaks. The subject is a white female between the age of 20 and 25 years. Location found, Pine Gap Base, Northern Territory, Australia. Place of origin, unknown. Language spoken, unknown. Blonde, short hair. Amber eyes. Athletic, thin body structure. Heart rate is at a normal rate and blood pressure is exceptional. We will now conduct a full physical at this moment in time. The physical is complete, and Zara is returned to her room until further notice. 1500 hours, board meeting. Dr. Wallace, Pam, Rebecca, lieutenant majors, and other security personnel sit at a round table discussing the events of the first examination of Zara. A series of more experiments will be underway in the course of the next several weeks. As you all have reviewed the report on the female subject, random tests will be conducted in all avenues until we can come to the conclusion of what we are dealing with here and what we can benefit from these researches. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, Rebecca. Now that it has been proven that she is extraterrestrial, what do you plan to do as far as testing and research? What does the future look like of this girl? First of all, the future of this girl is uncertain, whether she can sustain on our planet. And if she does sustain, she will have to adapt within this facility as we do. She will be on constant surveillance. We will try to teach her to speak so we may learn of her existence and learn what she knows. That will help us see what life is like on other planets. The test will be tedious. At this time, you will all be notified of what exactly the test will consist of. The meeting continues, with many subject matters and the possibilities of what they can learn from Zara if she cooperates. We do look forward to the ongoing reports that you conduct on this subject matter, Dr. Wallace. Research building, weeks later. As Zara is experimented on, loud screams are heard from her. We can clearly see the pain she is going through with wet eyes and scared. Guys, can't you see the amount of pain you're putting her through? Since when did you become so concerned? She's not some damn lab rat you can torture. Listen, you worry about your job while we do ours, okay? Tom, go get the other machine prepped up. Okay. Pam leans over to Zara and wipes her tears. Listen, it's okay. Shh. Relax. I'm going to get you out of here. Zara looks up at Pam in pain and with sadness. I'm gonna get you out of here. Gonna get you away from all of this. Zara's room, 1850 hours. Pam swipes her card and enters Zara's room. She tries her best to communicate with Zara and explain what will go down in the next few hours. Pam has decided the only way she can safely get Zara out is to risk her own life to help another. She is also aware that the camera in Zara's room and some of the other main camera tapes need to be switched out in order to give her enough time without being detected. I'll be back soon. As she leaves, standing behind her is Rebecca. So, what brings you here, Pam? What brings you here, Rebecca? I don't have to answer to you. I was checking up on how the girl was doing. I'm starting to feel that you are feeling pity on this girl. Do you know what this girl has endured since she got here? And having an accident? Have you no feelings? She is a test subject. That is all, plain and simple. You just don't get it. No need to discuss this with you any further. Pam walks away. Rebecca watches her. Security room, 2100 hours. A security officer sits at his desk, watching all the security monitors. He leans back and yawns. Pam is around the corner, watching patiently for his next move. Man, I'm tired. Let me go get some coffee real quick. As he gets up and leaves, Pam quietly enters the room. She begins to try and disable the cameras for a few minutes, when suddenly Rebecca comes around the corner and notices no one is at the desk. Pam hides quickly. Rebecca peeks in, then leaves and talks to a passing employee. Where's the security officer? I don't know. They're not supposed to leave their station without relief from another officer. Sorry, I can't help you with that. Thanks anyway. I'll have to notify someone. Rebecca leaves and Pam gets back up in a panic. She finally manages to deactivate the cameras for a few minutes. She quietly again leaves and heads towards Zara's room. Okay, it's time to go. Let's go now. The two quickly exit the room and sneak quietly around the hallways, avoiding being caught. Finally, they pass through several security doors without being spotted. The last door opens. Pam looks at Zara. Good luck. Zara touches Pam's hand and quickly leaves. Her last hurdle is to pass the security station without being noticed. Two men sit inside the box. She hides in the shadows. Then she sees the coast is clear. She runs as fast as she can. She is now out of the facility. The sound of fast footsteps and heavy breathing can be heard. She is well out of reach now. Security office. The security officer returns. He notices all his TV screens are black and fuzzy and realizes the cameras are off. What the hell? Rebecca returns and sees the security officer at his desk. Where the hell were you? Don't you know you're not supposed to leave your post without letting a fellow officer know? I'm so sorry. I'm new here and I needed to go to the restroom. Rebecca looks at the TV monitors. Why the hell are the cameras off? I don't know why. Get those cameras on now. You are so screwed. Something fishy is going on here. Rebecca rushes to Zara's cell, slides her card, and sees Zara is missing. That little bitch. Pam has something to do with this. Rebecca rushes out of the room, heads towards security. Notify the authorities. We have a runaway. Moments later, Dr. Wallace and the others are brought to the attention of the escape. They start to rush down the hallways. If she's not out of the compound already, then she's hiding somewhere. Dr. Wallace sees Rebecca. Where is Pam? I'm not sure, but I have reason to believe she has something to do with the escape of the girl. Dr. Wallace looks at Rebecca. Do not assume anything, you understand? Yes, Dr. Wallace. As they head closer to the last exit door, they find Pam's employee badge on the ground. Dr. Wallace picks it up. Suddenly, Pam comes running up to Dr. Wallace. What's going on, Doctor? The girl has escaped. How could she escape? Dr. Wallace shows her her badge. I must have dropped it when I slid my card to exit her room when we took her back in. Yeah, right, Pam. What about the cameras going off? I suppose you don't know anything about that either, do you, right? Sure don't. And I have a witness. Okay, enough already. She's gone now. It's now in the hands of the search party. Desert. Night. Zara takes a rest and hides. She can now see military choppers circling around the area with lights. The sound of communication can be heard by the military. The helicopter makes a sharp turn. She then runs in lightning speed. One of the military men sitting in the back with his night vision goggles sees her running. The chopper then quickly makes a quick turnaround and is on her tail. The lights are on her as she is running. She hears the military over the microphone.
Stop! You're in a restricted area.
She turns and looks, then turns her head forward. She juts across a mountain near a small crevice in the rock. Suddenly, a hand grabs her arm and pulls her in. Startled, she sees the man's face come out of the shadows. He motions with his hand, with a kind face, to follow him deeper in the cave for safety. She stops for a moment, then proceeds forward. A campfire is shown. In the middle, Zara sits on one side of the fire, while the tribal silver-haired medicine man sits on the other. Inside, the cave is beautiful, with ancient cave paintings. She does not speak. He then points his finger up high at a cave painting of some sort of UFO and an alien standing behind the UFO. She turns and looks at the painting for a few moments.
I knew you were coming.
She just looks at him with a blank look.
Are you hungry?
He then makes a hand gesture of eating food.
You want some food?
She nods in approval for some food. He gets up then, shortly afterwards, returns with a freshly killed bird. He guts it, cleans it, and starts cooking it on the fire. Later, they are seen quietly eating. No words are spoken. They periodically look directly at each other. Above the cave is a wide opening. The full moon is shown, and some stars brightly shine. He looks where she is looking.
Are you up from there?
Zara nods. Nibiru. They both look at the beautiful night sky. Then we see a close-up view. Beyond the stars, it's her beautiful planet.